toward?
That's something we're working towards. I know that there's new acquisition of LiDAR in the Ketchikan area that we're in process working with the USGS publishing. I don't know when that data is going to be available, but that's been recent stuff that's been flowing. I can't know exactly the entire area that's been encompassed with that acquisition, but we know that these are things that we need to increase on. We are bringing our LiDAR machine. We have our own LiDAR machine. We are bringing it down here to fly the areas of concern from these recent events.
Right. So that's one thing that we'll be doing. Are there other next steps that you see for Ketchikan?
Yeah, I've been in communication with City of Ketchikan about the services that I discuss about what we do. What those services are is that we have capabilities of getting a grant through FEMA. It's a cooperative technical partnership program. And what that does is it gives us funding to help support that. I've already been in discussion with Steve about that, and there's some great interest on doing that. So,
okay. Great. Grant opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked a lot about the information and the data collection. So once we have that data, then how can individuals access that data or be aware of, with looking at the weather, with looking at the data, how can individuals reduce their risk level and be prepared for a landslide event?
Okay, so just, yeah, as that data comes in, obviously there's going to be interpretation behind that, because something I want to fall back just really quick on LiDAR data, even though that's data that you can collect and can do interpretation on. So really want to make that point out there. It's not going to give you the answer. So there's interpretation that goes behind when we look at light and so forth. But, ways that you can reduce your risk as of now before we build up system is to educate yourself about landslides. What are landslides? What do they do? How could they impact us? What type of landslides there are? On my Alaska Landslide Hazards Program webpage, there's some great resources through the USGS and other things that we've been able to provide on that. Make yourself a landslide emergency plan. If you live in an affected area that potentially, this is great. Consider evacuating before a storm comes in. These are things to really kind of keep. During dangerous weather, always kind of seek out advisories, warnings that may come out through your local broadcasters. So keeping yourself aware of what these things are. So, and don't assume that highways and other roads are safe during these incidents, because sometimes some of these drainages impact roads, or roads can fail. So, be very cautious with that. Listen to unusual sounds, things that can be intimate to landslides or dangers, and keep away from landslide prone areas or big drainages, because a lot of this material likes to flow down drainages.
There was something that happened today, which was pointed out earlier in one of our meetings. We had a construction crew doing cleanup on 3rd Avenue, and the rain started again today, and they noticed some debris coming down. Could you mention a little bit what your thoughts on, so they stopped work, and your thoughts on that, and what they did and how they did that?
I wasn't there on site, but from what I've heard talking with folks, they did the right thing. They know something, and again, kind of reducing your risk at knowing what you're looking at and being observant. Seeing dirty water coming down a slope. Granted, this is in the disturbed area. It's already been disturbed. Material's been removed. But from the recon that I did and other folks, geologists and engineers, we noticed that there's still material within the body of that. And there's isolated pockets of material. So as these rain systems come in, they're going to flush that stuff away. So they did the right thing, being very proactive. Don't question yourself about that. You got a gut feeling to do the right thing. So absolutely, they did the right thing.
Thank you. Anything else to add to things that families can do? Any specific resources on the website you want to highlight for us?
Yeah. Again, I think really the big thing is keeping yourself about landslides, but also be very observant where you live and where you're at. If you notice something in your driveway or foundation in your home, all of a sudden you see some backing going on, that's evidence of potential slope movement. If you see water coming out of a source along a slope that you've never seen before, you see trees tilting over, these are indications of slope movement. So be very vigilant and aware of that, and also be in communication with your local emergency. So, I think, again, I'll say this again, really kind of allude to this, is that, we're trying to do what we can to give the public and the borough everything that they need at their hands to educate people. So as things move along, we're trying to come up with educational pamphlet fact sheets that people can take and read and educate themselves on that. So we're doing everything we can on that. I think everybody really wants to, the ultimate goal is to keep everybody safe.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that. So we'll turn now to Lanita Copeland, who is with the State Emergency Operations Center. Thank you for being here. You've been a great resource for us. And Lanita is the emergency management specialist too. And she's brought some resources and provided some resources that we've shared on our website. Can you tell us a little bit about those resources? You've they've lost material items, some have lost their homes. Is there financial assistance available, and how does that work?
Well, first of all, thank you for having the state here. We're actually very grateful to be here in person and have personnel on ground, and that we're able to help in person. That's a huge honor, actually. So thank you very much. First and foremost, as far as the state goes, the state has an individual program, and it's solely based on need and extent of damage, and it's per household. Anyone in the affected area is encouraged to apply, even if they're not sure the extent of their damage yet, because oftentimes you don't find damage until later. But apply sooner than later. Stats actually do matter in us possibly getting FEMA involved. So that would be something very important for everyone to do, even if it's small things, and because it's based on, like I said, the damage that is per household. So please apply, even if you only have a few things that you would like to have replaced. It's not based on income, so anyone area can go ahead and do that. We have 3 different formats available to apply. One is calling into the state hotline, where professionals and personnel who are from Alaska, because sometimes people worry that it'll be someone that has no idea what's going on and up to date, but they are from, and they are trained to walk the individual on the phone through the whole process of the application, and they fill it out on their end, and they can answer questions along the way. So that's a very popular way to do it, especially if you're not familiar with the application process. The second, just apply online. It's the same exact application that you would receive in person if you were going to write it out. And of course, the third is the paper application. We're happy to receive as well. But the paper application, honestly, we try to kind of encourage people to do either the hotline or online, only because it's a faster process. You will be assigned, each person that applies will be assigned a caseworker, and that happens quite a bit faster, generally speaking, if you are able to do it online or over the phone. Mm-hmm. So that would be the only difference in those 3. They all work great. So that's the first thing that we would recommend with the state. Then also the community has a meeting set up for Monday night, 6 to 8, and it's being hosted by the Ketchikan Ministerial Association. It'll be held at the fire department, and it's community-wide. Anyone's welcome to come to ask questions, even application questions, etc. We will have a state individual assistant be there, and he is an emergency manager who has a lot of different experience. He's been to many disasters throughout the world, different positions, and then also with the state. He's also trained in mass care, so he has a plethora of information available and is happy to help either fill out the applications while you're there that night or hand them out or answer any questions. He's a great resource. I also understand that we'll try to have some representatives there as well, and that will know of the different things that they can offer as well.
Oh, great. Thank you. Very helpful. My understanding is there have been some people take advantage of that and have started the application process. So that's a very helpful tool. This landslide was a traumatic event for a lot of people. Even myself, when the rain started, it's been nice for a couple of days, but I felt that sense of stress. Many people have lost a lot of things, loved ones, belongings. Many people are carrying stress, anxiety about their safety, their well-being, the future, what's going to happen this fall. Are there resources available to help with those emotional and mental burdens that we all are bearing?
So I'm so great question, because honestly, the mental health and emotional health is truly something that often gets overlooked or set aside when you're in the moment. And it can come back in full force and really hit individuals hard. It's very natural and normal for that to happen. So the state has learned to try to set things up as well as your community has right away. And it can also happen, long term. So no matter when it hits, you should seek help. And right now, the community has available some mental health professional library when it opens up. And they're also available each day now as well. We would just need to get a hold of the superintendent, and he can arrange that up at the high school currently. And then it will be the library for as long as is necessary.
Okay.
The state is more than happy to additional mental health professionals as well. And then we also have arranged something that has been a really wonderful tool, I guess, that the state has used in other disasters around the state, which is the canine crisis teams. Basically, the canines are accompanied by a handler that is highly trained and often are professionals themselves. They're volunteers, and the dogs have had extensive training as well, and they can just kind of go any places, hospitals, libraries, wherever they are welcomed, basically. Schools is often someplace that they love to visit. And it's just a way to interact with animals that really are trained and understand, and a huge help in Wrangell and some of the different places that we've been to. So they will be coming next week. They will arrive on Tuesday and should be here for a few days after that. And we'll try to visit as many places as possible. And if there's individuals or different organizations that would like them to visit, if possible, we could try to arrange that. So,
okay. And so if individuals are interested in that, should they call our public information phone number that we've published? Or
absolutely.
Okay.
That would be great.
Okay, so that is 907 228-238, I believe is the number. Yes, getting confirmation. Okay, so call that number if you'd like to request the K9 team. That sounds like a wonderful resource. Thank you for that. And the slide that we were showing shows some of the resources, excuse me, that are available on our website that we've received from these organizations. So those links are live on our website. So we'll turn now to Alaska State Defense Force Second Lieutenant and Southeast Commander Rodney Dial. He's got some information for us on how to be prepared. One of the best ways that families can prepare for a disaster is to have essential supplies ready ahead of time. Can you describe what is a bug out bag and how can families be prepared?
Absolutely. So first off, Casey, and for the public's information, the Alaska State organization, we're funded by the state. We fall under the authority of the governor. And in this case, the governor's designee authorized in response to this community event within minutes of this event. So this recent event is really a perfect example of why every family should have a go bag, or what's called a bug out bag, and have it in an accessible location, and have it so that if you have to leave the home immediately, you have something to help protect you and your family in an emergency. So everything that I'm going to show you tonight will fit into an average size backpack. This is an idea. There are actually many combinations that work. This one's kind of tailored for an environment. We do have links on the borough website for recommended items for your bag and family emergency plan template. So this is going to be a very quick demonstration. The State Defense Force actually teaches an hour-long presentation on creating a bug out bag plan. And if you need more information about the State Defense Force, or you're interested in joining, you can go to goasdf.com. But I just kind of wanted to show you a few things that we recommend that you actually put into a bug out bag. So the first thing that you really need is you need a readily source of water. And the great thing about Ketchikan is it rains a lot, so you don't need to carry as much water here as you would if you lived in Arizona. To supplement that, what you want to do is you want to get one of these things, and Walmart actually has these. These are just great little water purifiers. All you have to do is you screw this top off. You put any water source except for salt water or water that's contaminated by something like oil or chemicals. You put the lid back on, then you can take this top part off and you can drink normally. And so around here, it's pretty easy to find a stream or something so that you can have a water source. Okay, so we have very there's many different shelter options, and you can find tents that are relatively small and tent, and it's kind of designed for the rain. So you want a shelter. Of course, in our wet climate, you need a tarp. Even with the best tent, you're going to get water in it. You need a tarp. Put a tarp in there. You need some kind of paracord or cord so that you can actually put your tarp up. You need a dry set of clothes, and those should be in a waterproof bag or at least a garbage bag that's tied. Of course, we need rain gear here to prevent hypothermia, so have some rain gear in there. You need a way to start a fire. If you've ever gone out into our woods starting a fire here, it's almost impossible. So what you need some fire sticks or some kind of material to start a fire. Put a couple lighters in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of toilet paper. Now you have two different things that you actually need right there. As far as food, you can get these type of meals at Walmart. These are 25, 30 years. So if you put them in your backpack and you forget about it, you can still eat it. It's freeze-dried food. If you want to go up to the next level, you can go on Amazon and you can get these little things. What these are emergency rations that you'll find in commercial like life rafts. Very, very dense, very high calorie. This right here will get you by for about 9 days if you ration it. Most of us rely on a cell phone, but have a way to charge it in an emergency. So what you can do is you can get these little things. You can find them locally or on Amazon, and they're just chargers, right? They're a solar charger, but they're also batteries. So you can get a couple charges for your cell phone with one of these, and you can hang it on your backpack while you walk through the woods. Of course, don't forget the cable that goes with your cell phone. You need a first aid kit. The great thing is you can generally get by with a little first aid kit. If you get one of these things, they're called trauma packs. They sell these up at Tongass Timber and Marine, and they have a special chemical in here that actually has a quick clotting agent, so that if you get a serious cut or a gash or something, this will really stop it in a hurry. These are like military grade that civilian people can have at this point. You need knives, saws. This is just a sleeping mat. One of the things that we've really found is that if you go out into the woods and you're in an emergency situation and you're prepared, a lot of people around you are not prepared. So what you can do is, in addition to having a sleeping bag, which I have down there in a waterproof bag, you can have these little emergency blankets that you can give out, or you can buy these nifty little things on Amazon. And what these really are, this is an actually emergency sleeping bag. And I like to buy these and give these out as Christmas gifts because they're just really efficient. And if somebody else is in need, you can give them one of these. And hopefully they're going to be okay. And then finally, long cooking set that'll also help you purify water. And so you can get just a little cooking set. And this is just a little stove type unit, plus some dry clothes. And this right here is just it's a hand crank radio. Once again, Tongass Timber and Marine has these. Landslide radio, and you can theoretically charge something with it, but it's cranking, so you don't really have to worry about batteries going bad. So once a quick overview, and we will have a training session in the future for the public if you really want to come in and get into this in greater detail. But please prepare. I live in an area where possibility of a slide it can happen. You know, it's been remote, but it can happen. And we can get a number of other different types of emergencies. So be prepared, take care of yourself, and take care of your friends. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple different resources that the Alaska State Defense Force has provided for us. Those are on the borough website as well. And so we've heard from all of our panelists. Does anyone have anything else that they want to add before we let our Unified Commanders close us out? Okay. So with that, I would like to remind the public to make sure that in a disaster, well, anytime really, but in a disaster, in the coming weeks where you're waiting for information, to make sure you're using the accurate information from a reliable source. We've set up the landslide page